What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corey Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about finance, and of course, we're talking about business.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
And before we introduce today's guest, my man Eric from Huntsville, Alabama, aka Hunts Vegas, who do you have for our Black Men Sunday Spotlight?
Hey, thanks, Corey. Hey, I'm going to talk about our spotlight is about the national holidays coming up tomorrow, Juneteenth. And did you know that more than half states in the United States will only recognize it as an official public holiday this year? I mean, the newest federal holiday, Juneteenth, the National Independence Day for us Black people, which celebrates the end of slavery in the United States. But at the state level, governments vary considerably in whether they commemorate it as an official holiday, a day of observance, or something in between. Now, this year, at least 28 states in the District of Columbia will legally recognize Juneteenth as a public holiday, meaning that state of government officials or offices are closed and state workers have the paid day off, according to a research center analysis of State Human Resources website, the state legislation, new articles. Now, also talking about Juneteenth, most states, Juneteenth is designated as a permanent state holiday. In Alabama, West Virginia, Juneteenth has been authorized as a state holiday for this year by the governor's proclamation. Now, the holiday became a permit in these states if the legislatures passes bills to make it do so. Now, in addition to D.C. and the states where Juneteenth is an official public holiday, other states giving certain government workers the day off, but haven't declared Juneteenth as a holiday at the state level. Now, starting this year, California state employees can choose to take Juneteenth off tomorrow in lieu of a personal holiday. And in Pennsylvania, the day is designated as an official annual observance and a paid day off for state employees under the governor's jurisdiction. And in North Carolina, some state workers can choose to take a floating holiday as a cultural, religious, personal significance, which would be tomorrow for Juneteenth. That's my spotlight today, Juneteenth. Hey, y'all go out and do something special tomorrow. And Corey, that's my spotlight for today, Juneteenth. Now back to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, my brother, because I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, I'm off tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm off, so I'm going to definitely do something tomorrow. I think there's a few parades in my city. Let's go on and introduce today's guest. We have Cassius Butts. This brother is an Orlando native. This brother went to Morehouse in Atlanta. This brother spent time in the banking and the finance industry. This brother was appointed by President Bush to be a part of the Youth Department, Housing and Urban Development. He was also appointed under President Obama, and he ran the Small Business Administration. And his brother served on the Biden-Harris transition team, the Small Business Initiatives. And on top of that, when we're talking about Fort McPherson, this brother was appointed by Governor Kemp, and he ran the local redevelopment authority. So without further ado, Cassius Butts, welcome to Black Men Sundays, brother. How you doing?
I'm well, Corey. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm excited to have this conversation with you, man. As Black men that listen to this podcast, man, we talk, it's a lot of business owners, it's a lot of entrepreneurs, it's a lot of brothers that are CEOs, but it's a lot of brothers that's trying to get their feet wet. So coming straight to you, man, how important is a small business to the U.S. economy?
Well, small business, first and foremost, I would say thank you for having me on your show today. I appreciate the opportunity to always expand, opportunity to spread knowledge, wisdom, and then also to receive it as well too. So thank you for that. I definitely would say that it's very important because over 99.7% of our economy runs off of small business, and so you look at almost everything that we do, it goes back to small business. If you look at a Walmart or a Target or a Costco or Amazon, those are the big names, right? But really, it's thousands, literally thousands and tens of thousands of small businesses that are in that entity. And so small business is really the makeup of our economy. And so it's very important. And it's very important that we contribute to the opportunity to play and really, and also say play and really kind of, be in the lane of our professional walk. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a small business, you can actually do that. You just have to kind of get in the game.
Well, you were appointed by Governor Kemp. chairman of Fort McPherson Local Redevelopment Authority. So basically, you guys sold land to Tyler Perry and TD Jakes. Tell me how that came about.
Well, it's an opportunity that came from the United States Army that had a pathway. When you saw military bases closing throughout the country, Fort McPherson, which is located in Southwest Atlanta, closed several years ago, almost 2 decades ago now, and the order was to sell it back to persons who are interested in a place that can benefit the community. In other words, have some place where the surrounding areas of where the base is can be a part of the development. So it just was an opportunity that came about. Tyler Perry wanted to extend where he is now, and he had the right to make that decision to do so. And TD Jakes and TD Rev Company, which TD Jakes has had his development company for a number of years, said that they want to be a part of that too. And so it just was a great opportunity that came together. And so we're happy it's underway.
Definitely, definitely. And also, talking about Fort McPherson, what other future initiatives do you have underway?
The opportunity that exists in Southwest Atlanta for Fort McPherson to benefit the community, and that's one of our goals, and make sure that the community actually receive a lot of opportunities to benefit that community. So you'll see the development within Fort McPherson that is going to have single family, multifamily, retail, an entertainment district all in one. And so it's the second largest project since the expansion of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta. And so we're really excited about it, looking forward to it being underway, and so people can be a part of that opportunity.
And also, you're an author. You wrote Exceptional, being the exception to the rule. You know, it's Blackness Sundays. I'm trying to be exceptional every week by bringing guests just as yourself on, because a lot of brothers say, you know what, I don't believe it until I see it. I hear what you're saying, Corey, but bring some people on here that are living that life. And that's why we have guests like yourself on the show. So just talk about your book, Exceptional.
Sure. So, and thank you for that. Exceptional is being the exception to the rules. Really starts as a premise of a 1940 psychologist by the name of Abraham Maslow, who actually was the author and the architect of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Within that paper, he also had a term that was called self-actualization. And self-actualization is pretty much when you have the opportunity to realize who you are, what your path is, and realize that you are comfortable being who you are. And everything that you do, every moment of the day and night, you're actually living within your own lane, if you will. And so I really wanted to write a book where people can take the benefit from the book of realizing who they are through 14 steps of really everywhere from one chapter is called checking your ego before it checks you. Another chapter is called having an internship mindset. Another chapter, Corey, is called you're unique as a snowflake, embrace it. And so it really talks about these different chapters, or talk about these learning modules, if you will, about whether you're in corporate America, nonprofit, if you're a seasoned executive, if you're even starting out. This book is something that I believe that could be a benefit to you. So my goal was really just kind of to inspire and to make change within anyone's professional or personal walk. And so hopefully I'll have an opportunity to do that.
It's brothers out there that are in careers and they're like, this career is cool, but I kind of have this other career in mind, but I'm not sure if I should take the leap, if I should, how should I do that? So for brothers that are in careers, or for brothers that are unemployed looking to get in careers, what tips would you give us?
Initially, just really talking about chapter 1 is where I go back with the book is finding your passion, and really just following your passion, whatever it is. It could be podcasting, it could be in the medical field, it could be within sports and entertainment, it could be business, but whatever that passion is, I would definitely encourage people to just start working at your craft. What does that mean? Whether you went through college or you went to get a trade, or you just had an apprenticeship, in any of those cases, doesn't matter which route you've taken, to really have a mentor who can kind of help you along the way. And I like to tell people, whether it's any sort of business, we have within our respective communities across the country, small business development centers, which are partially supported from the Small Business Administration. If you go to SBA.gov, click on SBDC, you can actually make an appointment to speak to a counselor one-on-one confidentially there's no cost of doing that. Or I like to say that you've already paid the cost of your taxes, right? And so, there's nothing that you have to pay out of pocket for meeting with this individual for them to help you with their business. And that could be someone who's helping to start you off with a business model, or someone's trying to give you the guidance and direction how to go from here to here, the next level to scale up. But SBDCs are a great tool for anyone who wants to kind of start to figure out how they want to follow their passion and get to that next level.
And as Black men, I think as I do this show, I'm learning as well. And I learned, a lot of us, like, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really have a mentor besides my mom. But, as I'm doing the show, have CEOs, have mentors. So, who do you have as mentors for yourself?
Yeah, so I definitely say for me, I was fortunate to have people along the way who mentored me, who are not necessarily always CEOs at the top of the game. I definitely tell you, I'm somebody, who probably spends more time with an administrative assistant than I will a CEO. There's a lot of wisdom in folks who are actually opening up and closing the doors for people who are walking into those buildings that we walk in and out every day. And so I think that mentors really come from a place of person who's going to give you guidance, transparency, and encouragement. It could be within your own place of faith. It could be, like you said, your mother. It could be the neighbor. It could be a teacher from school. A lot of different places. But for me, I was fortunate to have a mentor, Dr. Lewis Lynn, who wrote the foreword to the book. He is he owns a 30-year-old management construction company, and also is a trustee at Clemson University. Dr. Lynn is just one of those persons who just continue to instill encouragement in me and try to give me that guidance and direction. But I would definitely say that you can find a lot of mentors in a lot of different places, and I've learned that it's okay to have more than one mentor. I also often come from the perspective, if you're looking to be mentored by someone, then possibly somebody you may have to be a mentor to someone, right? It worked both ways. And so for anyone who's looking for that, I would definitely say, first of all, start looking from within to see what can you do to offer your services, your time, your effort to somebody else's walk. Most of the times it'll come right back around to you.
Definitely. And Brothers on Black Men Sundays love tips. So give us a tip or two that you've learned from your mentors.
Well, one thing that I've learned is to not to judge the expectation or the outcome. So what does that mean? If you go into any situation, you got to go into it with the right mindset that there's supposed to be something positive that's supposed to come out of that moment, that opportunity, no matter how it is, no matter how it starts off, no matter what challenges you're facing. But always look at it, and in the end, that you're going to, you may not achieve the goal that you thought you were going to achieve, but you may acquire wisdom, through that situation, that you can either embrace yourself for the next opportunity, or you can take that wisdom to give it to someone else so they don't make the same decision that you may have made. And so that tip to me is something that never gets old, if you will, but it just is something that I've learned to use more and more in just my daily walk, personally and professionally.
Let's talk a little politics here. My man Kalali gonna ask you some political stuff, and I'm gonna go and get the ball rolling for my brother real quick. As I started with, as I said, you were appointed by President Bush, you were appointed under Obama, and you served under the Biden Harris transition team. So it's kind of like, are you red or you blue? How have you been able to remain neutral but yet effective?
Yeah. So for me, one thing that I've learned throughout my professional walk is that if you go back to the first question we started talking about, over 99.7% of our economy runs off of small business. And what does that mean? That means that there's no red, there's no blue, it's green. And so I have a mindset that I focus on the outcome from a business perspective. I will consider myself, or I'm considered, a trusted advisor to the folks who are on the left and the right. I don't get into the nuances of politics. I get into the nuances of successful outcomes. And so for me, at the end of the day, one of the former, he's long passed by now, executives or entrepreneurs was Mr. Herman J. Russell out of Atlanta, Georgia, who owned the largest construction company, minority construction company in the country. His sons and his daughter now run that company. But Mr. Russell used to have a saying, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're probably on the menu. So for me, I choose to have a seat at the table so I can help not only to digest the opportunities that are set forth in front of me, but also to help other people along the way. And so I don't mind answering that question directly on, but I do believe that there are some opportunities that we may miss out by paying attention or being blindsided by either one of those colors that, sometimes you need to see black and white, not red and blue.
I kind of like what you said. You said, because a lot of brothers say, "Man, Corey, I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to get a seat at the table." So can you just repeat that line one more time? Because I was like,
sure.
Wow.
If you don't have a seat at the table, you're probably on the menu.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Definitely. So I'm gonna open this floor up. See, that's what separates Black Men Sundays from other podcasts. I don't ask all the questions. I got my brothers on here, but my man Kalali, I kind of set you up with the political, so you kind of got to go right now.
Oh, I got to talk right now. Well, first of all, Cassius, just appreciate you coming on the show, man. So it's awesome for you to take the time out and come on and share some knowledge with us. And talk with us. And then also got to give a shout out to Spell House. My wife is a Spelman grad. So anytime I hear somebody talk about Morehouse, then I got to give a shout out, you know what I mean? So
there you go. Yeah.
Definitely appreciate you coming on. Look, I'm not going to ask you any political questions. I don't know why Corey said that. I actually like, I think it's spoken like, those of us, I think you're in public administration, if I'm not mistaken. Or that's what you have your degree in, is public administration. I have a degree in public policy, and part of the things we do as analysts in those areas is depending on where we get a chance to fit in, we kind of try to stay outside of the political firefight and just say, hey, okay, this is what the facts on the ground are. If you want to talk about problem solving, then this is how we can solve some problems. That being said, the first question I want to ask you is, so you talked about successful outcomes. How do you measure success or successful outcomes?
I think, first of all, you just have to first look at what are you looking to have to be noted as success, right? Some people analyze success and from a quantitative perspective. Some people measure success from a sense of, we are able to check the box, right? And some people measure success by just saying, hey, I went through a situation, I learned from it. So for me, I kind of depends on the situation, what are we trying to accomplish? I'm going to always feel like no matter what issue we're facing, we're going to be in a position to absorb and get some knowledge and wisdom out of it, right? And so, I never take anyone for granted, no matter who they are, no matter how many degrees they have or how many degrees they do not have, or their job titles, or where they're from, their socioeconomic status. So success to me really just means, and I mean this in a very transparent way, if I'm able to wake up every day and make a difference in somebody else's life, and I feel like I'm doing because it's the right thing to do, and not because it's popular or it's cool, that's success to me. If I can look back and say, hey, my family is fed, everyone's healthy, we're able to walk into doors that maybe at one point in time we were not able to walk into, offer a perspective of just being a kind, gentle human being where people can say, hey, I can appreciate who that person is, and they can go back and tell that story. That's success to me, right? Awesome. And so I'm going to always be thinking of in that regard. And, in the book, will I ever have a chance to take a look at it? That's what kind of person I am. I'm just that transparent. I'm not trying to walk in anybody else's lane, and particularly exceptional, being the exception to the rule means that there's a lane that is just specifically just for you. And the cool thing about that lane is that there's no one in front of you, there's no one behind you. You can get to your destination as quickly as you want to or as slow as you want to, but it's yours, right? And so just owning it, right, at night gives me a sense of peace. And so that's success to me.
So you spent some time with like the Small Business Administration. Could you speak a little bit more about what the Small Business Administration is? I think a lot of brothers and sisters don't even know what SBA is.
So just to take a step back, so I graduated from Morehouse College. Appreciate that shout out, and I got my master's degree from Clark Atlanta University in public administration. Was class president during that time. Led a lot of different initiatives that we worked on during that time. One of my mentors at that time was Maynard Jackson, 3-time mayor of the city of Atlanta, and I just said it was a calling on your life to be in this place of public administration. I just want you to kind of own it and be in that space. And so I listened to him, and hopefully I was able to accomplish a couple of things that would made him proud. But specifically getting to the point of, at SBA, the United States Small Business Administration is an agency that actually helps to support small businesses and do a couple of different things. But I'll say what part of the stumping speech would be, and that's through access to capital, where you're looking to get capital for your business, you're looking to get capital to start your business or to grow your business, contracting opportunity to the federal government. If you're buying paper clips, water bottles, food, anything, the federal government sells it. And so, we help for you to be in a place where when I was there, we would help for you to be in a place where you can be a supplier for the federal government, to actually be a supplier to supply any of those different proponents that I just talked about. And so that's capital, contracting, and counseling. And so I believe in the beginning, I mentioned to Corey, is that having that one-on-one confidential counseling, whether you're speaking to a group of our affiliates, which is with the Small Business Development Center, or with SCORE, who those retired executives who help you with your business plans, and help to give you that guidance and directions, and to possibly be mentors as well. That's what the SBA is there for. You can always follow that no matter where you are in the country. You go to sba.gov, click on the state where you're located, and it can give you all those resources that are right in your jurisdiction. And again, the cool thing about that is that meeting with the people at SBA, particularly SBDC, there's no cost for it. You pay for it through your taxes already, so you definitely should take advantage of it since you already made that investment in yourself. And I'm sorry, and also you asked me about some things there, and I want to answer your question of that too. So I was appointed as regional administrator for the southern portion of the SBA. The SBA has 10 different jurisdictions throughout the country. My jurisdiction was the southeastern region, where we had 8 states, which was that I managed, which is Florida, North and South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky. And so within those states, we would help to get access to capital, contracting opportunities, as well as counseling opportunities. So being appointed by President Obama was an opportunity of a lifetime. I was grateful for the opportunity, really enjoyed it, but also really enjoyed seeing people manifest their business and scaling up and doing something that was really, really great, so never forget, it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I could imagine it was like an incredible opportunity to be able to participate in the Obama administration, especially in that way. When I know that, we know that growing small businesses was it was actually a pretty major part of his platform, though I don't know that people talked about it as much as they probably should have.
Yeah.
So definitely thank you for that service, brother.
Absolutely. Well, it's one of those things, like you said, and when you start to hear about what the SBA does, and then people are like, oh, I had no idea, I didn't know. And to the administration's credit, to President Obama's credit, I was the first African American to be appointed into this role for Region 4. And so I don't take that lightly. I just knew I had a job to do. And that job was to make sure that we spread opportunities so more and more people knew about what we were looking to accomplish and how it can benefit them in their communities.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, just piggybacking right off that. So, so that was for kind of people who don't know anything about SBA. For people who do know something about SBA, can you think of something that maybe a lot of people don't know, even though they might know about SBA, like something that they just don't know about small businesses or starting small businesses that they should know?
Well, yeah, I can tell you that a lot of times people think that SBA gives and disperses money, and they do not disperse money. They actually ensure the money that financial institutions lend out. And so, if financial institution ABC, they may possess a product, an SBA product. One may be the 7A loan or a 504 product, and so they will offer that product to their customers. And so SBA, they say, I want to take out this SBA loan, and the product is a 7A product, and so that means that SBA is going to insure, let's say, up to 80% of the amount of loan, which means you have to put down 20% of the amount that you're taking out. And so that guarantee, excuse me, gives the financial institution a little bit more comfort to say, if anything ever happens, then the federal government is going to support us, insure us, to make sure that we don't go out of business, if you will. And so I think a lot of people just may not have understood how that actually meant when giving out loans. It doesn't come directly from the SBA, but it is insured through the financial institutions.
That's awesome. Yeah, you actually just educated me, because I thought that the SBA actually, dispersed the funds. So okay, so the SBA, what the SBA does is essentially insures and makes it and manage or brings down the risk for financial institutions to invest in businesses. Okay,
absolutely. Now, there's another part that SBA does, and whenever there's a natural disaster, for you all who are in the southeastern region, or any actually other parts of the country, doesn't matter where you are. If you ever go through a natural disaster, the SBA is the first agency, along with FEMA, to help you get back on its feet. And sometimes they give you direct loans that does come through the SBA. And so just through the pandemic, there was the PPP that came from the SBA. So those were direct loans that came from SBA. And so those emergency disaster loans came directly from SBA. So there are some circumstances where it is a little bit different, where there is direct disbursement of capital, but the traditional ways to go through the financial institutions.
You already mentioned a couple ways, but could you just mention like a way that you think that in addition, actually, a way that you think that small businesses actually help with wealth acquisition? Like what role do small businesses play in helping to acquire wealth?
Well, I think it's a combination between, there's one thing to invest in yourself to ensure that you have a sound business and is operating properly. But there's another thing to do two things. One, to make sure that you get some counseling for the capital that you're receiving, so you know how to manage it. And two, sometimes it may be that you're investing in property. And so I think that as a small business, if you're investing into real estate, you can actually make that happen. There's a product at SBA called the 504 product. And that means if you're looking to acquire the building and then have a business inside the building, where it's going to increase opportunity for jobs for folks in that particular jurisdiction where you're acquiring the building, that opportunity is there. There's a product that you could use to take advantage of. And so I would encourage people who are looking at business and starting business, if you can, look at something where you're acquiring the property, because acquiring more property does give you the stepping stones of generational wealth. One thing that we do know that they're not making any more of is land, right? And so
I just told somebody that recently.
Yeah, they're just not making no more of it, at least not on this earth, right? And so if you can acquire land and property, then get it, hold on to it, and make it work for you.
Exceptional being the exception to the rule. And I just had to get one question. I'm sorry I'm taking up a lot of time.
Take your time.
I had to get in one more question, because it's rare that somebody actually on this show mentions Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so I just wanted to ask you about that in terms of how do you think that like self-actualization actually relates to wealth acquisition? Because some people get a bunch of money, right? But they're not they're still not actualized though. and then they
Yeah.
have to learn, you know, on the back end. And then some folks, you know, so basically that's the question is like, how do you think self-actualization relates to wealth acquisition?
Well, I think it can go hand in hand if you look at wealth as being the premises of success for you. And keep in mind, self-actualization can mean, you know, that you're in a 2-bedroom, you know, apartment, and you got a good bill of health. You don't have no bills. You know, you got food in the cabinet. Your loved one is just hugged you as you walk in the door. You sitting outside, looking out in the window, looking at the sunset. You know, that has nothing to do with wealth. But what it does have to do is wealth of the mind and the wealth of the soul. And so both of those can actually go hand in hand as well too. And I think that for many of us, we start to think about chasing the financial components of wealth because we typically have used money as a tool for success or for peace. But really, self-actualization is really looking at peace as a premise for your own path. In other words, the more peace that you're in, the more that you are really self-actualizing. And if you're self-actualizing, you're in more peace. And so the goal is to be in a peaceful mindset as best as you can. And sometimes the tools for success and financial freedom can come through money, through wealth. But I think it would not be a night without a day. It would not be a day without the night, which means that it's going to always be turmoil at some point in time. But like what happens is, like you just said, how do you manage it, right? How do you manage going through all of that? How do you manage through the ups and downs? And I think you have to take the wisdom from when you're down, you know, to when you're up. You don't forget that when I go back down, you know, I know how to climb out of this valley, right? And just get to a place where you just and I'll say it like this, and I'll end it like this. And we all do it, but we kind of take it for granted. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. It's just a journey. And if we can actually enjoy the journey as best as possible, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a gem right there. I hope people got that, because that's definitely a gem you're dropping right there. Like I said, man, that's all the questions I had, man. I just again appreciate you taking your time out to talk to us, man. Definitely enjoyed your conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And thank you for the questions too.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. I definitely had to pick your brain on some of this stuff.
I appreciate it. Well, I'll say this before even asking any questions. I'll say this for you, Corey, as I begin to wrap up. You know, first of all, you know, thank you for what you do as an individual and as a human being, because you're giving opportunities for other people to hear about their travels, their successes, and how they can actually make a difference within somebody else's life other than themselves. And from the interviews I heard previously, I've heard a consistency that it was not easy, but I've heard a consistency. Last year, he was talking about, he brought his wife on with him and said, "Hey, I had someone here to support me." Whoever it is that supports you, doesn't matter, you know, as long as you have some kind of support. And so thank you for choosing your lane and time out of your schedule to enhance the lives of other people, and bringing your friends on too, because, you know, I often tell people, don't start a business by yourself. You got to have somebody to balance it off. It's like riding a bike. You press one side, the other side got to get pressed too. So, you know, thank you for doing that. And as a wrap up for me, I just kind of think that the more and more opportunities we have to really spread words of encouragement and wisdom and support, no matter what you're facing, you know, you can come out of it in its due time. So, you know, I appreciate for what you do.
Definitely, and I appreciate you for coming on the show, man. And before I let you go, I got like 2 more questions. The last question is always the fun question, but I kind of want to jump back in that book. You said having interns mentality. I mean, think about it, man. I've been on my job over 20 years. What you mean have an intern mentality? I'm like, intern mentality? Why would I do that? And I'm a veteran now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna break it down to you this way, and it's real simple. It's real easy. So you may have your day job, right? But you may have things that you're passionate about. And I think a lot of times those go hand in hand. So really, I first heard a term years ago. I can't take credit for that. It was Sean Puffy Combs who said it. We said, man, I always work with an internships mindset. And so a lot of times, if you remember how hungry you were when you were the intern to get on, to get the job, right? The things you would do, the work you would put in, the nights of studying, you know, just having the anticipation, just like, yo, I want to make this happen because I want to get to that place. I want to be a part of it. That's usually an intern's mindset. You know, interns usually not that person is necessarily compensated properly or well. Let's just call it is what it is, or sometimes it's free, right? Sometimes there's no pay at all. And so you're working to get to that next place. And so I kind of feel like if you always have that intern's mindset, the internship mindset, you're going to always be putting in enough work that is worth your own value. And you can take that same mindset and put into perhaps something you're doing now on this particular podcast, because that's something that you're passionate about, that's something you believe in, and it's something that you know you can make happen, right? But the only way that you actually get to that place of being here, like if everyone just wanted to do what you do, or even at your job, they can do it, right? But who's going to do it best? Who's going to be the leader of the pack? Who's going to be separate from the norm? And that's going back to, again, about being exceptional. Who's going to be the exception to the rule? You know, you like you said, if someone's been on a job for 20, 30 years and they're good at being a job and they retire and they get them a nice gold watch, whatever, and they off in the sunset, okay, great, cool. But if you want to get more out of that than just a certificate and a watch, everyone, I believe, has something to offer. Everyone, I believe, has something to receive in addition to that. That's just what I believe that people put in place to say. I remember, you know, many years ago, thinking I had some relatives who were in that place, like, oh, I'll just retire, I'll just do this, I'll just do that. Now, what are you passionate about? Because that's what you're truly here for. That's what you're truly here to accomplish, the things that you're passionate about. And when you're passionate about it, you have that internships mindset. The psychological rewards of that, when you actually see the fruits of your labor come into place, it makes you want to get up earlier. It makes you want to stay later. It makes you want to work harder. It makes you feel like you don't feel the sweat and the pain when it comes in between saying, hey, these are tough times. Why? Because you're following your passion. You're being the exception to the rule.
My brother, that's what I'm talking about. And actually, I got one more question before the last one now. Because, you know, you in Orlando, a native. What part of the city you from, man?
So I'm from Rock Lake, man. Rock Lake, West Orlando.
Okay.
Rock Lake Drive, right off of Tampa Avenue.
Yeah, I know exactly where that is because you cross the street, the Magic Mall, right over there. So yeah,
that's
I know
right.
all
That's
about
right.
that. Yeah, I'm more so West Side, like Hiawassee West over there. You know, Pine Hills area.
Pine Hills.
But I'm a Popka right now. You know, homeowner now, so I had to elevate a little bit. You know. Yeah.
No, look, it's all good. I went to actually. I went to Richmond Heights Elementary, Robert E. Lee Junior High, with the Edgewater, you know. And so, yeah, that Orlando's home. My brother, we were in the same household, but when we moved, he was going to Oak Ridge. And actually, I went to Memorial in 7th grade, and then we moved, and then I transferred to Lee. He stayed at Memorial. He was about to finish 9th grade, ready to go to high school. So then we went to Oak Ridge. And so, yeah, no, that's home, man. You know, I got much love for anybody from Central Florida. It's a beautiful place. You know, it's a place where I just kind of helped me to get my start of where I am today. I mean, I was in all kinds of stuff like, you know, Future Business Leaders of America. I was in Young Men of Tomorrow, Junior Achievement, you know, all that stuff, man. It just was great times, and really had a lot of great friendships that developed coming out of Orlando too. So I'll never forget it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we was Morehousing it so hard. I'm like, we got to bring them back to the city before we close the show. Now they're gonna be looking at me like, "Come on, man, what you doing?" Definitely.
Yeah.
And my last question for you, brother: did you enjoy your time on Black Men Sundays?
Oh, I had a great time. I had a great time, not just talking about it, I had an even greater time just listening to the questions and just hearing you all with the wisdom and seeing the young man jumping in with his daddy. You know, it always excites me to see, you know, relationships and people come together, you know, for a greater cause. So, you know, we were able to accomplish that today, then it was all well worth it.
Definitely. Well, Cassius Butts, man, thanks for coming on Black Men Sundays. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, spending some time with us. And with that said, we out of here. Peace.
All right, bro. Y'all take care.
It's a black man's son.